Not a trace.
That's ridiculous, not a trace.
Unless she's clear away.
How?
Well, you realise, of course, if she got her hands on a uniform, she'd be Officer Yates again. Well, not to us. But if a delivery man came into the yard, he wouldn't know the difference.
Well, where would she get a uniform?
With a little help from her friends.
That's rubbish. Well, did she have any particular friends on staff? Anyone she kept in touch with?
Did she, Vera?
How would I know?
Well, what about the other prisoners? They're still locked in their cells.
It's a pity we can't snap freeze them until we find the woman. I suppose we'd better return to normal procedure. The evening meal is to be strictly supervised. I want every officer we have on deck, the women to go straight back to their cells.
Right. Do we still look for Yates?
No, we'll leave her to the police.
We can handle it, surely.
Well, you were all for calling in the police over Lynn Warner.
Well, she returned, didn't she? So will Yates. We just have to starve her out.
Rather a gradual method, don't you think? No, it's time we called the police. Well and truly time if one of the staff are involved.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Vera's all for starving her out.
Who?
Yates!
Well, she's got to be there.
But where?
I don't know. How's B. Smith?
Oh, you know, I've been too busy to even think.
Hang on, you're off duty.
Ah, yes. You know, Yates could be scattered around the place in 14 tidy parcels.
Oh, don't.
I hate to admit it, but Vera was right. She was all for special protection for that woman.
That doesn't sound like our girl.
They knew each other outside. And that's classified information, by the way.
But you mean Vera was a friend of Yates?
Well, as near as Vera ever got to a friend.
But there are rules about prison officers consorting with criminals.
Well, Yates hadn't been convicted then.
But Vera knew that she was dismissed from service.
Well, technically, Yates resigned.
Come on, only an hour ahead of the posse. How could Vera be so stupid?
Desperate for a friend, I suppose. I mean, you know Vera. She probably gets very
Well,
lonely.
there's no excuse for consorting with criminals. A woman in her position of trust, hobnobbing with a pusher. Makes no better than Yates herself. Does the governor know?
I don't know. She's pretending she doesn't at the moment.
Oh, she'd better be told.
Jean, I've about had as much righteous wrath as I can cope with for one day. Ease off, will you?
Sorry.
What sort of a day did you have?
I'm still upset about Susan Rice.
Well, it's not your fault.
You know, Steve Wilson's got a lot to answer for. It was losing the custody of those kids that pushed her over the edge. He's no better than a hired gun.
That's your considered opinion of Mr. Wilson, is it?
It certainly is.
Must have thought about that, all right.
I certainly have.
Much more than if he'd been weedy, small, and unattractive.
I have no personal interest in Steve Wilson.
Well, of course not. Hello?
Hello, is that you, Meg?
Yes. Love your timing.
Oh, can I have a word with Jane, please?
Yes, hang on. Steve.
Yes?
Hello, Jane. How about having dinner with me tonight?
Why?
Oh, let's just say that I hate to eat alone.
Not good enough.
Come on. I promise you'll have a good time.
My idea of a good time would be telling you exactly what I think of you.
All right. That's fine. I'll pick you up in an hour.
Well, are you ready to eat?
I'm eating out.
Oh, with Steve?
It's a chance to tell him what I think of him. That's the only reason I'm going.
Wow. Is that your telling off outfit?
It's all I had clean.
Uh-huh.
The brass knuckles are in the bag.
And in in the black trunks, weighing in at 190 pounds.
Well, good evening.
I wouldn't jump to any conclusions.
We're booked in at 8:30.
Where?
Sergei's?
You mean Sergi's? The type of evening you're going to be having, you'll be wasting your money.
Why don't you let me be the judge of that?
I'm warning you. It's not going to be one of your great evenings.
Well, if we stand here in the doorway much longer, I'll never discover that, will I? Come on.
Bye, Meg.
Oh, bye, Meg.
Bye.
Champagne and roses.
I tidied up a bit for you. You smell of that damn prison. Get out of that uniform, quick. Come on, I'll help you.
Oh, no, don't.
Tough day.
George, Anne's disappeared.
Disappeared. From the inside.
She's gone.
Just like that, into thin air.
Oh, look, we've searched all day.
Oh, God. You knew those bloody crims were after her. You just threw her to the wolves.
Crims? And what's she supposed to be? A Sunday school teacher?
You knew they were out to get her.
Look, I did everything I could for your precious Miss Yates. I must say, you're very concerned for someone who's just a business associate.
Come on, Vera. Don't be silly. You know where you stand with me.
Well, I hope it's a little closer than Anne Yates.
Sit down a minute. I'll explain something. You both know that Anne Yates is a pretty tough lady. And she knows more about my business affairs than I'm happy
I
about.
don't want to hear about your business affairs.
Okay. That's how she pressured me into pressuring you.
She blackmailed you?
She said if you didn't take care of her, her solicitor would open a letter from her and act upon it. Now, she's dead and that letter exists.
It does. She threatened me with it. Would that letter mention me?
Who knows? Ah, the hell with it. Let's open the champers. I could do with a drink.
What have we got to celebrate?
B really told you could take over.
You better believe it.
Sure, I do. It's only some of the others might get
Yeah, well,
a
they
bit...
better believe it too if they know it's good for them.
Poor old B, eh? You wouldn't think Yates had it in her.
Yeah. Well, a cornered rat'll always fight. B should have known that.
Where'd you get the knife? Off the screws?
Nah. Screws are as crooked on Yates as we are. I mean, she's the living proof that they're no better than we are. Any bloody difference is we're in and they're out.
Funny they haven't found her.
Maybe they have. Maybe somebody done her in and the screws don't want to spread the glad tidings.
Who then?
I don't know. But she gets my vote for Woman of the Year.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Jimmy?
I've been here before.
Oh, you come here often with hors d'oeuvres at $8.50?
Well, if you want the best, you have to pay for it. You haven't been here before, hmm?
I know so few millionaires.
Their loss.
Do you realize that a whole family could eat for a week on the price of a main course?
My mother would have stretched that to a fortnight.
Where is she now, in the old age home?
Now she's dead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Cancer. My father was a TPI. He died shortly after she did. They never owned their own house, and I never owned a suit until I was 23. I hope that qualifies me for the human race by your exacting standards.
You've come a long way.
Oh, some of it was luck. None of the fellows at my school were brighter than I was, but, well, they didn't quite make it. Which is why I am genuinely interested in helping people who, well, don't get an even break.
This doesn't sound like the Steve Wilson I know and hate.
You still think that I'm devious, though, hmm?
Well...
Right then, I am. I am a little devious. In fact, I'm being devious tonight. You see, I do have an ulterior motive for this meal.
Oh?
I want a little more tonight from you than just your charming conversation.
Oh?
Yes, well, you would, rather than I lay it on the line, wouldn't you, than pussyfoot about.
I've always thought that honesty is the best policy.